Yeah, yeah. We just chillin' and vibing. Good conversations with good people. Oh, good conversations with good people. Yeah,
Tonight, guest is no stranger to the stage, the mic, or the moment. From viral records to halftime shows, from culture shifting sounds to messages that hit different than just lyrics. He made his mark on music and motivation, man. His visionary, a vibe, and a voice that still echoes from coast to coast, man. Welcome to the Chillin' Vibing Podcast, where we, as real ones, talk to real ones. And tonight, we making it hot with Mr. OG himself, Mims. What going on, man?
What's good, fellas? What's going on, man? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. I just want to let you know, man, before we start, man. Music is my savior. Yeah, that's it. Came out when I listen. I ain't mean to call you old, but it came out when I was 8.
Wow, yeah, that's dope.
It
So,
came out
so
when I 8, man.
that's what's up. So you still in your 20s, and I guess because we
Yeah,
didn't hit the
man.
20-year mark yet. So thank God for that. We not I'm not too old yet, but damn, that is a throwback for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm 26, man. It came out 2007,
Hmm.
but and I had an uncle, man. My mama baby brother. He only 6 years older than me. And he used to play that shit every single day, just like that. Girlfriend.
Favorite
What?
MC. Oh, okay.
There you go. There you go. This is why I'm hot.
Wow,
You know, and the
wow,
remix too. So and the remix was
wow,
crazy.
wow. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Nah, man. That's a we going on. I think 2027 will be 20-year anniversary. So we
Mm,
about technically it was released in '06, but it kind of went viral as they would say in '07. So yeah, we almost on that 20-year anniversary. So I know I'm up there. I mean, I hope I don't look old, but yeah, it's starting to kick in. I need some shades like you guys and start hiding these bags, man. Yeah.
yeah, man. I see the salt and pepper kicking in. It's
It
kicking
is.
in,
It's
OG.
there. It's there. It's there. It's
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes, sir. But let's go ahead and get to it, man. So, This Is Why I'm Hot became an anthem. When you first made it, did you know it would shift the game like that?
Um, no, when I first made this is why I'm hot. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was frustrated. I'm originally born and raised in New York City. And I remember in circa 2003, I had went on the road to be the national opening act for this artist by the name of Method Man, which everybody obviously in the game would know who that is.
Mm,
Um, and I got the opportunity to leave New York for the first time and really kind of embrace culture in different places. We went everywhere from the South to to the West Coast, which was my first time ever hitting the West Coast. And then when I got back, I want to say like around 2004, my career kind of at that time just flatlined. Like I didn't have no movement. I didn't know what my next step was. And my manager at the time came to my house with this beat CD, and I won't even lie, most of the records on there were like southern. They had like a southern style to it,
mm,
and him and I were in there just kind of brainstorming, and I kept saying to myself, yo, you know, the South is winning right now. What if I like put some New York flavor on a South beat? Would that work? And I remember like approaching, I got this beat, and I remember like trying to over rap it. Like I just had so many words for one beat, and you know how us New Yorkers are. I'm sure y'all from the South, so y'all can attest. Like New Yorkers, we like to over rap on everything.
mm.
And then I just said I stopped and I said to myself, nah, people wouldn't want to hear that. They want something to be a little bit more simplistic. So I started freestyling, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "This is why I'm hot." And I just repeated that like 4 or 5 times. Why? And then it just started sounding like a hook to me. Then I said, you know what? Nah, let's start the verses. Another chick, another drop, and then it almost
I get
made it
turned.
feel like, yeah, like
Like
I
it.
started saying, man, this is easy listening. And I laid it down, and it wasn't on. I laid it on another beat, not the one that people are used to, but I knew that the beat that I
Oh,
laid it on wasn't the one, so I sent it down to the south to a producer by the name of DJ Blackout, and he put his foot in it. He made it what it was, and like he rearranged the verses, and he put samples from different records in it to kind of like make it like a DJ anthem. And next thing you know, the record just kind of skyrocketed.
yeah, it damn sure did.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was number one in the country, man. How did that make you
absolutely.
feel?
At the time, I would say when you're an artist and you're in that position at the time, you don't realize how big of a scenario or situation that is. Um, I won't lie, like when I was I didn't realize how many artists never get to number one at that
Mm,
time. I didn't realize it because I'm like, we did a number one. All right, let's get to the next record. Let's like I want to feel this again. And I didn't realize how hard it was to get to that number one spot. So looking back on it now, what I could say is if y'all into sports, it's like winning a championship. It's like, like that's the equivalent. When you got that number one spot as an artist and you hold that number one spot, whether it be for a week or two, that feeling right now is like I could say, yo, looking back on my career at its inception, I won a championship. And not
mm,
only did I win it, like not only did I win it, but I won it on my first year in, so it's a surreal moment, but it's also one of those moments you don't even realize until you look back and say, damn, that wasn't an easy thing to do. So yeah, shout out to anybody out there that got multiple number ones, because yeah, they put that you got it's a lot of work you got to put in to get there.
Yeah,
for
man.
sure, for
I
sure.
gotta ask, what did you do to celebrate?
Mm. All right, so I said this on another podcast, and everybody always gets on me for it. But like one of the first things I did, I remember my birthday coming around. Now, what happens is this: when you got a number one record, um, I think the record went number one in '07, March of '07, right before I released the album, or like right around the time I released the album, the record held the number one spot on Billboard Hot 100. And I didn't do anything at that time. I didn't do anything to celebrate. I didn't buy anything lavish. I wasn't in the process. I was really just in work mode. But I remember when I got off the road, like a year later, I went and I bought a convertible. I had a house already. I took care of all the other stuff that I was supposed to take care of. But then a year later, like my gift to myself was I went out and I bought a convertible BMW, and I spent like 90 grand on a BMW. And oddly enough, the first check I ever got from my record, this was in '07, '08, I was gonna say. And the first check I ever got on my record was like 30 grand. So I remember getting the check like a week after I bought the BMW, and I'm like, yo, what? Like, I'm looking at the BMW and I'm looking at the check, and I'm like, damn, I didn't even make enough to cover this car. Um, and it's not I know people are gonna get on me for it because they say, oh, you went and you spent your money. Once again, I'm very business savvy, man. I'm a business savvy person. I bought the house. I took care of everything I had to take care of. I was on the road. I made money doing that. I made other deals that brought money in. But the first check I made off of music, I figured that would be something that I could go out and celebrate with, and it wasn't. So yeah, in hindsight, I bought a BMW, but I probably should have waited for the check to come first before I bought that car.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should did
Yeah,
that, me dog. Hey, but
it's
nah,
all a learning
respect, respect.
process.
No, no, no. We do definitely understand that. So but so what part of the journey do you think the industry overlooked, but the fans never did?
I think during my time when I launched my career, it was during the cusp of physical sales and digital sales, right? So I think
Mm,
for me, the biggest thing was A lot of people at the time deemed my career unsuccessful because I had sold millions of digital records and millions of ringtones, but my album sales were subpar compared to the people who came before me. But legitimately speaking, I want to say January, February, March of '07, iTunes was starting to heat up. And that was the
Mm-hmm.
way people were consuming their music. People went out and they had, I think the first iPhone or iPod was out around then, and the iPhone came out shortly after. And that's how the world was consuming music. So when they look back at the album sales, I got caught in the middle of, yo, was that album considered successful, or was he a quote unquote one hit wonder? And I think that it didn't kick in until it didn't kick in until now, where people start to see like, damn, that was a part of my childhood, so much so that they start to, like you said, they start to talk about other records I had on the album, and they start to talk about the things that, and now I'm going out and I'm doing these big festivals, and I'm seeing how much the people love the music I released back then. And when you living in that moment, it's kind of disheartening, because you got the world, for 1 minute they love the hell out of you, like everything
Mm-hmm.
you do, every time they see you, man, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then like it was a complete 180, within a year or two's time, where the world start to despise you and hate you and tell you, yo, you suck and you're not a good musician. And I think that it's, to me, I don't want to blame anything. I think that the world was just in a transition. Music was just being transitioned from one space to the next. There were no more physical albums. Digital sales became the thing, and I just got caught in it. And to be honest with you, there got to be one person, right? There's got to be a scapegoat that gets that. And thank God I got a strong spirit, because I never really let it affect me. I just went out, kept my head down, did what I had to do, rocked with who rocked with me, and I'm here now because of it.
Yeah.
Man, you gotta
Respect,
do that,
respect.
man. And one thing I've learned too, man, like you can't please everybody, no matter how hard you try.
There, there you go. Somebody's gonna be pissed off.
Somebody, no
It'll be
matter
all
what
right.
you do, no matter what you say, somebody gonna be pissed off just because of who you is, man. It's just wild. It's a crazy world out here, man. But how do you stay motivated and
Absolutely.
inspired?
It depends on the period in life. Now I was blessed to have I have a son. My son was born 2020, March 2020, and I became a father. And I think that gives you a newfound respect for life, a newfound motivation for things. And now you're not even just living for your own legacy per se. You're basically living to make sure that this little person who looks like you, who resembles you, grows up in a good world, in a good space, and becomes a good person. So in today's world, that's my motivation. Back then, I think I was fueled by, it's funny, I was fueled by the love, like you fueled by the love. People who show you love, you show love back. But I also feel like there's a, and this is probably something that people should be cognizant of, right? You can be fueled by hate. I was fueled by hate as well, because every time I would hear someone say something negative, it just pushed me to go harder. The problem was that with that is that the negativity resonates way more than the positivity does if you're paying attention to it. And because of that,
Mm-hmm.
when you start paying attention to negative things and negative people, you start trying to prove to them that you can be something they're not, and then you start to alienate the people who support you. So I didn't really learn that. Like I would do records, for example, like, after coming off of records like This Is Why I'm Hot, I would go in and do freestyles that were like the hardest records, street records you would ever hear, because I kept trying to prove that I wasn't just this fly by night artist that just popped up out of nowhere, and that I actually had skills. And then I started realizing, well, damn, I'm starting to forget about the people who supported me and got me here. And that's an easy thing to do when you're listening to hate. So for a moment in my career, I was fueled by the love. Then I got fueled by the hate. But now in life, I'm fueled by the love again, and that's where I'm at now.
Respect, respect. Yes, sir. But man, we forgot to ask you, man, because we normally ask a lot of rappers, hip hop artists, R&B singers, man. Who's your top five, man? Like your that inspire you to rap, man?
Top five rappers that inspire me. I'm gonna go number one at the number one spot. I'm gonna look at the OG Slick Rick. Um,
Okay.
I like the swagger that he brought to the game in the early, I guess, late '80s, early '90s. Um, I mean, as a New Yorker, I'd be stupid not to say Nas, Jay, and Big. Um, I also want to say for me as a New Yorker, it's weird because I was inspired by West Coast music before
Mm.
I got inspired by East Coast music. So I was listening to Cypress Hill. I was listening to Doggy Style, the Snoop Dogg Doggy Style album, and a lot of the West Coast artists like Domino, uh, um, probably way before y'all time. Y'all probably don't even know who that is. But shout out
Oh.
to Domino, like records like that were like in my playlist when I was young. And yeah, so the West Coast had a major influence on me as an artist as well. And there's so many. I mean, honestly, there's so many because every time I hear new artists and I listen and I'm like, well, damn, they're bringing something different to the game. There's a certain amount of inspiration that comes from that. So it's not limited to those five that I named, but those are definitely like the ones that kind of got me in the game and inspired me.
So, what's your favorite Slick Rick song?
Children's Story for sure, hands
Oh,
down.
that.
Mona Lisa. Um,
Ah, Mona
yeah,
Lisa.
you know, yeah,
Hey,
yeah. So I mean, once again, the
I
swagger in the records.
yeah, I may be a youngin, man, but
Would you?
I do. I'm a old school, you know. I listen to everything for real, for real. I'm
There
a
it
music
is.
freak, so you know. But
That's
what
dope.
do you feel today artists are missing that y'all brought to the table back in the early 2000s?
That's easy. I'm gonna say it off rip, and it's not every artist, so don't kill me. YNs, you know, the youngins out there. I think it's just the fun part, man. I think that when you listen to a lot of the music, not all of it, because there are people that are representing. I think you lose a lot of the fun. My era, I feel like, was the golden era of partying, right? So we kind of embodied the club, and when we embodied the club, it was really all about going out and having fun and having a good time. You know, and I'm not pigeonholing a whole generation to say that the music now is different, but I know a lot of the music now is not I don't even know what clubbing is like for the era right now. Y'all could tell me more than that. I don't know what it's like, but when we went out back then, it was about going out, having a good time, partying, getting everybody around you, maybe drunk or whatever the vice was, but it was like it was a vibe. New York City was a vibe. Anywhere you went, like South Florida was a vibe. Um, LA was a vibe, but I don't know what the music of today, even especially like drill, for example, and it's no discredit to drill. I don't know how that works in the club. Is it something that's getting people hyped to party, or is it something that's getting people hyped to fight and destroy? If that makes any sense, right? Like is like are you pulling up on a woman and spitting game, or are you like, you know, in the corner ice grilling with the homies, like, you know, I don't know, but that I think that's the biggest difference. I don't hear party records anymore. You got artists like Nelly. You know, I'll even credit Ja Rule for that example. Artists like Chingy, Little John, everybody from that era, T Pain. Everything that you heard, it was in the club. Like you heard the record
Right,
on the radio, but it was also in the club as well.
right. Yeah, it's very different
Clubbing
now.
is
Yeah,
different
yeah,
now.
yeah. They
Like
Tell me
don't.
how it is. I want to know how it is.
yeah, clubbing now, like you said, back in the day, you go spit game to a girl, you know, whoop the whoop. You know what I'm saying? You might get a little dance. She grind on you, and I'm gonna buy you a drink. T Pain, shout out to T Pain. Nah, man, it just seems like everybody just holding the wall up. It's like a fashion show to me. From when I go,
On the
it just
wall.
seems like a fashion show. People
Right.
gonna get dressed up, post on the wall, ain't getting no numbers, ain't talking to no females, and that's the era of the day now, man.
They
Like
getting sections.
it seems like dudes afraid to talk.
Mm. See?
Dudes,
It didn't come from me. It came from y'all. So Yeah.
I mean, dudes, they scared to get rejected. They don't like that. I don't know why.
You might be on the
I
dating
just,
sites, on the
boy,
dating apps and swipe.
word,
Swipe left, swipe right.
word, they do that, man. But no, but the females today, man, they dance on other females. Now, I was in the, high school, I was still there when them boys we used to like grab a girl, grab a little booty, but you gotta be gentle with it, gotta be gentle. Don't be rough with it. Now they grabbing on girls trying to come here. Like, nah, bro, you gotta be calm and collected, man. When you trying to talk to a girl, bro, you don't do that. Yeah, it's different. I don't know.
There you go. And I would say my argument would be, is it the music is the music helping? Because once again, T-Pain, I'm gonna buy you a drink. Like, it was cool to buy a woman a drink. It was cool to go out and, like, be suave and smooth. Biggie said, he had in his record, he said, once the grin I'm in game begin. Like, that's really what it was. Like, it was cool to be a romancer back then. And I feel like you said, if people are in the clubs now and they standing on the wall, that's a culture that I wouldn't care to be a part of, because I had a lot of fun running around during my era.
Me
Must
too.
be nice.
Like me and the guys used to go out, man, and it used to be a competition. Who getting the most numbers? Oh, I bet you won't go talk to her. Shit, why not? Why not? Hey, girl, come here. Only thing you can do is tell me
Exactly.
no.
Exactly.
And no hard feelings. I go to the next one. Yes, sir.
Alright.
What's something you learned the hard way in the music business?
I think the hardest lesson I learned is that he who holds the goal makes all the rules. Um, and that's for anything in life. That's not just music. That just means that, if you're relying on somebody to make you a superstar, especially in the music industry, and those same people are collecting your check and your money, those are the ones that are going to dictate who you are, how you get represented, what you look like when the world sees you, and you lose a lot of control. And I don't live with regrets, but if I had to go back and do it over again, I would have not put as much faith in the system that signed me than I did in myself and how I got here. Because I was independent when I came in, but as soon as I kind of like partnered with the label, and it's not their fault either. I'm not blaming them, because it's a system. But as soon as I partnered with that, I thought I could put things on cruise control. And you learn the hard way that that's not the way it should be. You should always fight for your creative freedom. You should always know, how your money is being spent, who's spending it. And I was extremely savvy when it came to doing the deal and crafting up the deal and doing the business, but I didn't collect the money. And I think that relinquished a lot more power than than I wanted to. And in hindsight, that would be the one thing that I would tell artists out there to look out for.
Respect. Respect.
Can you share a moment that you will remember forever while performing on stage?
Um, Forever. You know what? I think the biggest performance for me around that time was the fact that I did Summer Jam, New York Summer Jam stage. Because I remember in 05, '06, prior to my record taking off, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna paint the picture for you, and I understand this. Right now, somewhere, somebody's sitting out there, they watching the Grammys, and they saying to themselves, one day I'm gonna get a Grammy. And next year, that person that's saying it is gonna be at the Grammys and get the Grammy. Um, it only takes a year, right? Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work. What they say, every overnight success takes about 10 years, right? It's 10 years in the making. So I get it that a person can grind and work their ass off to get somewhere, but in a year's time, the tables could turn so much that you be sitting somewhere in a year saying, damn, last year I was on my couch watching it from home. This year I'm here. And for me, when I did Summer Jam '07, I opened up the big stage, 55,000 people. And I said to myself, man, I'm a New Yorker. this is the city that was. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to get support in my city as an artist. But when they finally did embrace me, and I hit that stage, and I saw how much people were singing my record, that's one of those aha moments. Like, damn, like a year later, I'm in this position. So I'm forever grateful for that show, because that show showed me that all the hard work I had put in prior to getting there paid off. I still do things now that amaze me. I did 15,000 people in Paris a month ago, at a festival called Do You Remember Festival, and the people's energy was incredible. And that was a big moment for me too, because to be 16, 17 years removed from putting out your biggest hit, and you still going on the stage and you getting a massive amount of energy back. That's an amazing feeling.
That's dope.
Yeah, I think we just need to bring them old niggas back. Yeah, just
There
gotta
you
bring them
go.
back. I ain't gonna lie, because I think '07 this was the time when I was still learning like what I really want to listen to. Boy, you, Soldier Boy, what else? Who else, man? D4L, Shawty Low, Gucci Mane. God, that's why I thought you was from the
Yep.
South, because the way you came in I was like, damn, bro, where he from? And them boys used to lie like, shit, he from the
Yeah,
South. Lie, that was up, that was up. But yeah, you definitely put yeah, just double platinum in my household growing up. For real, for real.
appreciate you. No, we I would say this. I never really cared for territorial locations, man. And one of the things I learned being on the road is that there's a certain amount of appreciation for music everywhere. So
Right.
I like to embrace it, man. I look at cats like Three Stacks, um, coming out the South. I look at cats like Ti. Uh, I mean, there's so many, man. You named a lot too. I mean, shout out to the list that you just named. A lot of those guys I still see now on the road when we do these nostalgia concerts. But like, music don't really got a territory. Yeah, it got a sound when you go certain places, but if you really appreciate what's coming out of certain areas like Texas, they got the chopped and screw sound from
Hmm.
that time, that era, that like I rocked with as an artist. So like, yeah, I mean, I don't believe in territories. If I'm gonna do a record, and I'll do a record with anybody from any region, even out the country. Like if you from India, I'm gonna rock with you, and I'm gonna try to do something that's in that lane. So that's just my thing. Like I never wanted to be. I love New York, and I carry myself with New York pride, but I don't carry myself with New York ego. That's the difference,
Right.
right? You could be proud of where you from and still appreciate music from everywhere.
Respect, respect. So how did you take care of your mental during the highs and lows?
I didn't do drugs. That was the biggest thing. I'm gonna
Right.
be honest with you. I wasn't a big drinker. I didn't have any real. I don't have no drug vices. So I barely. Like occasionally back in the past, I would smoke a little weed, but nothing from a habitual standpoint. But I think that as an artist, I came in the game wanting to make sure that I kept a business mentality and a mature mind frame, and I think that kept me grounded. And I remember at the height of my career, I had the number one record in the country. But when I would visit, because I didn't have an actual house in New York, when my career took off, I lived on the road, and I
Mhm.
remember I would visit my family, and I would sleep on the couch, and that was like instead of me staying in hotels and doing it that way, like I would just go home and spend time with my cousins and my aunt and my brother, and I would sleep on the couch, and I would say they kept me grounded, because they as proud of me as they were, it was still like, yo, you here, we family, like, yo, go take the couch, here's a pillow, here's a blanket. And I think that
Right.
that says a lot about a person. Is you when if you ever get the chance to like have the world watching you and seeing you, um it's important to keep the people around you that you know is going to keep you grounded, that's never going to switch up on you, whether you got $1 million in the bank or whether you got $0, they're going to act the same. And that's the important part. It's hard because most of us black folk don't have that, right? Like we know that we got cousins that's going to reach out that we never saw. Yo, let me hold something, you know.
Right.
But you know for a fact if you're going to have a solid 4 or 5 people that you could surround yourself around that's going to look at you and say, yo, Larry, yo, GVO, like they're gonna know who you are no matter what. It's never gonna switch. So thank God I got people like that in my life because that allowed me to stay grounded forever.
That's what's up.
Respect,
That's
respect,
what's up.
OG.
That's it, man. Having that, man, having solid people around you, man. You got to.
Yes, sir. But no, man, for real, man. Music is my savior, bro. That shit was the when I say play 24/7, 24/7. And I
I
was a smooth
appreciate
type of
that, man.
guy,
I
man.
appreciate that.
I used
I,
to listen. I see. I'm a smooth here, but I'm more a R&B type of guy. So like this, I was like, shit. I said, yeah. I said, yeah. This right here
I
about to be the
appreciate
one.
you. I appreciate you,
No problem, man. No problem. I had to make sure I had to get your flowers while you still here, man.
man. That means a lot, man. That means a lot to me for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shit, Larry. Shit, Larry was an adult when that song came out. So shit. So I ain't really had the experience in the club with that
oh,
shit,
was
man.
it,
So it's
man?
like I'm kind of mad, bro. Shit, you was almost adult. You was in high school, Nick. Nah,
Yeah, I just
Nah,
man.
it's all
graduated.
good, Larry. It's all good. That's what's up.
Hey, man. But yeah,
This this be
go ahead,
y'all
Larry.
Tito's. That collab, man. You and Chester chopped it up. The video was dope. How did that collab come about?
I should have I should have brought the chain in here. Hold on, let me speed up my internet real quick so that I don't stutter out for y'all.
Are you
Let's see
good?
here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, big dog.
Okay. Yeah, the Cheetos collaboration was an amazing one. Shout out to my guy Mike Monahan who called me. I want to say he called me like in January 2023, and he was like, "Yo, I'm calling you from Flamin' Cheetos, right?" And as soon as he said the brand name, I said, dog, you 15 years late. Because I knew in my mind that like when you do records, there's certain brands out there that make sense. And Frito-Lay, Flamin' Hot, Cheetos. Um, honestly, that was one of probably the best experiences I have as a musician, able to basically just create another parody of my record, specifically for a brand and do something cool to reimagine the record like almost 15 years later. So they reached out, they took real good care of me. And the one thing I love about that brand deal and endorsement that I did with them was that I like to remind artists there's so many ways to make money as a musician that you don't need to limit yourself to just going out there and quote unquote getting famous or going viral. That there's brands out there that will really, really cut you a decent check, um, for being a musician, and you know
Mm,
they're one of them. And there's other companies that will, and you could probably make more money doing brand deals than you can um, doing anything else, and that's what that taught me. So like I'm welcoming in anybody else that wants to do a deal because I realized in my tenure as a musician, those are the type of deals that keep the lights on forever. So yeah, that was a great shout out to Cheetos for that. They took care of me for sure.
So
respect, respect. Do you feel like you already lived your biggest moment, or is your real purpose just now unfolding?
That's a great question, man. That was a great question. I don't feel like I lived out my biggest moment. I feel like what I did was I feel like what I did was I created a path to walk down to where my last name commands some sort of respect, and with
Mm,
that respect that it commands, um the deals are going to flow easier in life for me than they would had I not had the biggest record in the country in 2007. And I feel like it it just, as big of a moment as it was really there to open the door for me for other things in life to be successful at. Um, I ventured into the tech space in 2012, and I started learning how to build applications and bootstrap companies and raise money. And even though I would say the stuff that I was working on then is not things that I'm interested in doing now because of my son being around, and I don't want that to take the time away. I think that I learned my set of skills that I learned from that helped me navigate through new deals that come my way now. So maybe to answer your question, there may not be something bigger than what the people will see, but as
Hmm.
far as my life is concerned, absolutely not. That's just a blip on the timeline for what I'm preparing to do for sure.
Respect. That's
So,
respect.
so Mims, I gotta ask, man, how did it make you feel after this record company got $14 million and you only received 30K? What was going through your head?
I didn't. You know what? The means didn't justify the ends. Once again, it took me 10 years to become an overnight success. I mean, to the T, right? Like I think my career took off when I was like 24. I started doing music when I was 13. When I survived the death of my mom, my father passed when I was 11 years old. My mom when I was 13. So when I started music, it was really a place for me to go, like a refuge. I didn't really care about the money aspect of it until other people kept saying, yo, you could make money in it. You could do, and that's when I started paying attention to that. But when you get to that mountaintop and you know that everything you worked for 10 years was diminished to a moment for a record label to take advantage of you, man, to me, I didn't even want to be a musician. Like there was no bone in my body that cared to be a musician. Um, and I think that allowed me to know that I serve a bigger purpose outside of music, and that's why I got into technology and was able to be successful in that space as well. Because it's not necessarily about what your talents are; it's about your dedication, your determination, right? Like how bad do you want to be to do something different? Um, so yeah, it's disheartening when a record label takes you when they don't give you what you feel you deserve. Um, it's disheartening. But I will say this: not a lot of people would have walked away like I did, right? A lot of people would have stuck around and tried to do it again and try to do it again and again and again. And thank God for me, I like having a stubborn mindset worked in my favor because I said to myself, I love music so much that I'm gonna just do music for fun. If it comes back around and lands on my plate, great. But in the meantime, I gotta figure something else out. And earlier on in my career, I decided to venture off into different things. Since then, I've opened up food trucks. I've opened up studios. I've gotten into other, businesses. I did the tech space. I did the blockchain space. Um, and now I sit as a person that understands a multitude of things, not just one dimension or one lane. So now I, it's a gift and a curse. Would I have loved to make more of an impact musically back then? Absolutely. But I think now, looking on my life right now, man, I'm happy where I'm at in life, and I wouldn't change anything.
Respect. 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 What's the biggest myth about making it in the industry that you want young artists to stop believing?
The biggest myth is that everybody in here got money.
Right.
You know, there'd be some years as a successful artist and even as a amateur artist that you make the same amount of money working at McDonald's, but you got to be dedicated to it, right? Like most people want to get in the music space because they want to be rich. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I feel like you should be able to make money out of anything. The problem is that will you stick with it when you look back and say, dang, I didn't make a dime off of music for 15 years.
Right.
I make money on music almost every year, let's say, right? But like there's some years where I look back and I'm like 20, 2020 when the pandemic hit, I didn't make a dollar off of shows. So like
Right.
I had to have love for it to come back in 2021 to say, man, I'm gonna go out there and get the show money because you're not always gonna get. It's not always about driving around in Ferraris and Rolls Royces. I know we see a lot of that on social media and on television, but
Right.
when the cameras is off, 95% of the people are not living that lifestyle for sure.
Facts. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I seen it, man. Especially when I used to watch that movie used to call MTV Cribs. Man, I'm thinking like that's their house for real, but when I look and I'm reading, doing research and doing documentaries and watch YouTube, them boys like, nah, that was my house. I was like, man, that's crazy. I said, that's crazy. I think they said the only person that
It's
was
funny.
keeping it real was
I,
Redman.
you know what? I put my actual house on MTV Cribs. Like I definitely put my real house on Cribs. I didn't want to do it at first because I didn't know if I wanted to invite people into my personal space. But I was
Mm,
launching an album in 2009, and I was told it was going to be great publicity. And I always looked at Cribs. That was one of the shows I watched when I was younger too. But you're right. Like you'd be surprised at how many people are not showing their real lifestyle or not using their real life to just to show others that they got something. And I think that's it sucks because the reality of that is that some young person out there is trying to compete with somebody who ain't living that lifestyle. I remember watching was it Ocho Cinco, um and he was like, yo man, I was taking Spirit airline flights, to get around, and I respected that so much because not everybody want to tell that story. And I got a lot of friends that have been in the NFL and they not, they living good, but they not riding around in Rolls Royces every day. So I think it's
right.
important for people to start seeing the reality versus what they imagine, because that imagination can destroy somebody. It's going to take somebody to the bank, and then they're going to sit there and be like, well, damn, I'm not living life as good as them. And nah, that's.
Nah, I grew up around hustlers, so it's like if I ever got that type of money in my hand, man, I, I ain't no damn fool. I'm one of the cheapest man you ever know. I can be rich but still be cheap. And I said we don't need all that. We got bills, Miss Lady. We gotta make sure the lights still gotta be paid. You feel me? But yeah, so I
There
definitely
you
agree
go.
with that.
I love that. I love that.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree, man. Stop lying to these people, y'all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what are the quietest win that no one saw but meant everything to you?
I remember winning TechCrunch Disrupt, which was
Mm,
like a really coveted award for people with startups, right, in the startup space. And we won money. It was like 50 grand. And I'm not going to say the money didn't matter because anytime you get money is great. But I think the bigger thing for me was that it proved to me, this happened in 2017, and it proved to me then that that you could pivot into other industries and be successful, and that you didn't always have to think on a one track mind. So TechCrunch Disrupt 2017 startup of the year, went to a company called Recordgram, and that was my wow moment, for me learning stuff.
Hey, yo, Mims. So, like, what advice would you give a young entrepreneur?
The best advice I could give. I mean, there's so much advice you can give somebody. I know it sounds cliche to say like hard work and dedication, but that's probably like top of the list. You gotta be dedicated to what it is you want to do. So much so that you don't take no for an answer. And that's with anything. So like, you know, most people are going to be told that they can't do something a million times in life. But if you have that stubbornness in your mind that says, nah, man, you can't convince me that I'm not good and that I'm not going to accomplish what I'm accomplished. That's the first thing you always need. The second thing I would say is, depending on what you're doing, pay attention to technology, right? Because technology, to me, if you really look at where we're going, you know that every so often you got people who jump on the wave of something and they become millionaires, billionaires with that one thing, and then every 10 years or so something new comes out and then they jump on that wave. And so I think if you really pay attention to the wave of technology, for example, in 2007 it went from LPs and records to MP3s, and then the MP3s killed the game, and then it went from you know that to streaming, and then streaming became the next iteration of music, and now we live in this world where virality is like everything. So you could be a musically inclined, but still be a great musician because you got an audience. Um, and the same goes for technology. Now you got AI that's being introduced. And I think people need to pay attention to it because AI is going to take a lot of jobs. And it's also going to bring a lot of wealth to certain individuals. So you just gotta be in it to win it, man. You gotta be in it, and you gotta do your research. What my man from Onyx say, my man Fredro Starr said, do your Googles. Do your Googles, man. Cause that's gonna keep you ahead of the curve.
All right. Well, Mims, we appreciate you for coming to Chill and Vibe. But before we go, let everybody know what we doing, man.
Oh, you already know what we doing. We chilling and vibing right here. Chill and vibe, y'all.
Yes,
Appreciate you,
sir.
man.